Chapter 7, Big for 7th Grade, Monday, January 7th, 1935. Now I get to walk into school where I don't know anyone. Correction, I don't know anyone except a piece of work named Piper. One enemy, the rest strangers. This is not good for cripe's sakes. Plus, it's mid-year, so everybody has made all the friends they want already. No one will need a friend except me. Was this how Natalie felt on the way to Esther P. Marinoff's school? Maybe some big ladies will come along and drag me inside, kicking and screaming, too. Sometimes it seems easier to be Natalie. People force her to do stuff. I have to force myself. I try to remember how I would have walked into a new class at home. I guess that's the problem right there. At home, I never would have thought about how to walk into a stupid room. I would have just done it. I take a deep breath and shove open the door. Everyone is looking up at a teacher, including Piper. 3rd row, 2nd seat. The teacher is writing on the chalkboard in perfect Palmer method handwriting. I spot an empty seat and I wonder if I can get away with just sitting down like I've been here all year. The teacher turns around. She's got black hair and a tight white little face, as if her skin's a size too small. "And you are?" she asks. "Matthew Flanagan, but everybody calls me Moose." "I'm Miss Bimp," she says, looking at her roll sheet. Her pencil moves down the list. "Excuse me, Mr. Flanagan, but I don't see your name here. Are you certain you have the right class?" "7th grade advanced English?" "Yes, ma'am," I say. She squints at me. "Big for 7th grade, aren't you, Mr. Flanagan?" "Yes, ma'am." Miss Bimp clears her throat. She puts her hand to her mouth and speaks behind it. "This wouldn't be your second time round in 7th grade, would it?" Piper laughs first, then the whole class busts up. My face burns. My ears are like 2 little heaters attached to my head. "No, ma'am," I say. Stop and think right there. Why do you think his face is burning and his ears are like 2 little heaters attached to his head? What's happening right now? Yeah, you're right. He's embarrassed because it's his first day, and they're kind of making fun of him, and he's trying to make a good first impression. "That's enough, class." "All right, fine, Mr. Flanagan. Take a seat there in the back so you don't block anyone's view of the board. This week, we're continuing our unit on oral reports. I'd like you each to write an outline for a 2-minute speech. Remember, beginning, middle, and end. Keep it short. Moose, have you written outlines before?" "Yes, ma'am," I say. "Excellent." Her stiff mouth flips up. This is supposed to be a smile. It looks like it hurts. "The topic for today's speech is," she writes on the board, "what I did over Christmas vacation. I'll give you 15 minutes. Then we'll start right here." She raps her knuckles on my row. That just figures, doesn't it? I take out my notebook. It seems like I've hardly started scribbling ideas when Miss Bimp booms, "Pens down, listen up, Scout McIvely. You're first." Scout has the kind of hair that grows up instead of down. He has a friendly smile, and everything he does quickly. I don't pay much attention to what he says, but when he walks back to his seat, I see he's got a baseball glove under his desk. Within seconds, I've dipped my pen in my inkwell. "Do you play ball?" I write. The note travels up to the row to Scout. Even Piper passes it up, with no comment. After Scout reads it, he turns around and smiles at me. Then his head ducks down to write his response. "Southfield," it says when it comes back. "After school today. We need players. Scout." His handwriting is big and wild. It takes up the whole backside. I can't believe my luck. I'm about to write "what position do you play?" when I see Piper walk up the aisle. She waits while Scout moves his books out of her way. Even after Scout's done moving them, she still waits like he hasn't moved them far enough. Although he clearly has. Scout pushes the last little corner in, and she sails past. In front of the room, Piper still waits like she's not going to open her mouth until she has every single person's eyes on her. She doesn't have an apron on either, which wouldn't be strange except every other girl in this class does. I sang a solo for our convicts on Alcatraz. I sang Silent Night for Al Capone, Machine Gun Kelly, Roy Gardner, and the others. There were tryouts in early December, and I was given the only solo spot. We walked around the outside of the cell house caroling, so I didn't actually see Capone this time, but I'm almost sure I heard him call out, sweet as a songbird. No kidding, a fat kid says. The Al Capone? Piper nods. The very same. How do you know it was him? I recognized his voice. You gotta be kidding, another kid mutters. Moose Flanagan lives on Alcatraz too, Piper smiles at me like we are best friends. Maybe he could tell you more. What the heck was that? Take the little policewoman off Alcatraz and she runs her mouth like crazy. Capone this, Capone that. Exactly what the warden said never to do. And now, if I don't talk about Alcatraz, I'll look like a chump. And if I do, she'll tell Daddy on me. Score 1 for Daddy's little miss. The girl who comes after Piper is up front now, but everybody is so busy talking, no one notices. Miss Bimp wraps her pointer stick so hard she practically breaks it before people settle down. The girl's turn goes lickety-split, and so does the next guy's. I'm up now. I look at the strange faces. My arms feel too long. I try crossing them, putting my hands in my pockets, holding up one arm with the other. My pants are too tight in the waist and in the crotch, too. How come I never noticed this before? My dad is an electrician on Alcatraz. I moved here, from Santa Monica, and the most exciting thing that happened to me this vacation was my mom didn't feel like cooking because our pans were still packed. So my dad brought home a plate of roast chicken, potatoes, and cooked carrots. I pause a minute. This wasn't what I wrote in my outline. I'm going freeform now. From the cell house kitchen. It was cooked by a kidnapper, a 2-time murderer, and a postal robber too. Wow, someone says. Were you scared? No. I make a scoffing noise like this is the silliest thing I ever heard. The truth is, I was terrified. For the first time in my whole life, I skipped supper. Told my parents I had a stomachache, which has never stopped me from eating before. He could have been killed, Piper says in a stage voice. She's shaking her head as if it's a wonder why I'm here to tell this story. They tried to poison you? A girl with chipmunk cheeks asks. No, but they could have. Any of us could be poisoned at any time, Piper agrees. Is that all, Mr. Flanagan? Miss Bimp cuts in, tapping her pencil on the desk. Yes, ma'am, I say. When I get back to my seat, I trip on a girl's foot and knock my inkwell over. Ink seeps through a crack and drips on my leg. I spend the rest of class trying to clean it up. After the bell rings, I catch up with Piper in the hallway. Outside. I thought we were supposed to talk about Alcatraz. Weren't supposed to talk about Alcatraz, sorry, I say. Why did you then? Piper asks, shifting her books to the other arm. I open my mouth to answer, but no words come out. Why did I anyway? Because you did, I finally spit out. Because I did. Isn't that the sweetest thing? Piper smiles at me. I hurry to keep up with her. Piper's a good 6 inches shorter than I am, but walks fast. How can this be? She stops and looks at my pants. I look down at myself and see a big black ink blotch, the shape of Florida, uncomfortably close to my fly. So, Are you going to help me with my project or not? She asks. What project? Didn't I tell you? We're going to sell the Alcatraz laundry service to kids at school. You know, get your clothes clean by famous Alcatraz convicts, Al Capone, Machine Gun Kelly, and Roy Gardner. We'll charge 5 cents a shirt, no IOUs. Money will be split 4 ways. Jimmy and Annie will help us put the laundry through in families' bags so they each get a cut. Plus, you and I. You're going to sell the Alcatraz laundry service? Why? I ask. I just told you why. Money. Piper starts walking again. Does your dad know about this? She snorts. Not hardly, she says, taking off again. Hey! I hurry after her. She ducks into a doorway. I didn't say. Get out of here, you big baboon. This is the girls' bathroom. A blonde with angry pop-outs shouts. 3 girls are putting on lipstick. Another is closing the stall door. All the way to the next class, I hear the sound of Piper's laugh. It plays over and over in my head. So stop and think about what your thoughts are about Piper at this point as a character. Does she follow her father's rules? Is she trying to get Moose into trouble? What are your thoughts? Why is she doing what she's doing? She has him in the girls' bathroom. She wants him to sell laundry. I don't even know if that's legal. Think about all of these things that she's doing that maybe she shouldn't be doing. So is she a good person or a bad person? What kind of character traits would you give her if you were to come up with some character traits for her?